Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll just be going through a CV. So I've had lots of comments and people asking if I could show them what a CV looks like, a UK approved, well, a UK CV looks like for those of them who like to apply as teachers to come teach in the UK. So I'm going to be going through an actual CV. This is a few who have been asking. Okay, so this is for those of you who are asking what a CV should look like. For those of you who are trying to apply for the overseas teachers route to the UK. And I've had requests and comments. Oh, please, as a teacher, what should my CV look like? What should I include? What is the layout? What is the format of my CV? Okay, so I'm just going to be going through an actual CV for you, but I have covered and kind of changed the names, the details, and all of that, and just blotted out some of the personal details and just put XXX showing you that you should have words there. But as you can see, I have titled this dummy CV. So if you're looking at the top, looking at the top and looking at the name over here, so I've titled it dummy CV. Okay, so this is what an actual CV looks like, but of course with the blotted out personal information. So first, as you can see, also this is on a Word document. So this was typed on a Word document, and then you can print afterwards. So first thing first, you should have your name at the top of your CV, then your address. If you have a postcode, you can put a postcode. If you haven't got a postcode, that's fine. You can omit that. Then your email address and your mobile number. So these are the things that should be at the top of your CV. Following that, you're going to have a paragraph, a short paragraph that basically describes you, that gives them a bit of information about you. Why do you want to become a teacher? What motivates you to be a teacher? Now, this is specifically for a teaching job. Okay, so this CV has been arranged for a teaching job. Now, you have to have this paragraph that talks about your personal profile and your teaching philosophy. So I started by saying, I'm a very, I'm a very enthusiastic, creative, and blah, 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 blah teacher. My passion is to teach and inspire students to begin a journey of creativity or a journey of learning, whatever. I have a passion for seeing people progress and make exponential growths in their life. And that's why I went into teaching, blah, 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 blah. So it's just a short paragraph. It is not an essay. It is not a long thing. Maximum 5 to 6 sentences. Now, not one sentence, not two sentences, okay? Because then it doesn't look as if you've given it an in-depth thought. So it is a short paragraph, as I said. It is not an essay. So they shouldn't see two paragraphs. Just a short paragraph containing 5 to 6 sentences, maximum maybe 7 sentences, because you don't want to give them quite a lot to read about, okay? This is just a brief summary about you and what motivates you to teach or your teaching philosophy. Now, following on from there is your education, okay? So this is your education history. Now, if you look at the dates in this CV, the dates are in ascending order. So we are starting from the list to the top. We're starting from primary school to university to PhD to master. So your last education, whatever you did last, your last qualification should be at the top, and then the what you did later on should be at the bottom. Okay, so here we can see I started in 1945 and then I ended with 2015. So your most current education should be at the top and then the other ones underneath. So I started I didn't include the primary school. That's not necessary. So you start from the WAEC. Okay, so I have WAEC, then I have all other things. Now, if you look through as well, not everything there has to do with teaching. So anything that you have done, this is not a training, but any educational thing or any qualifications that you've done, this is where you include them. Any qualification, whether it's got to do with accounting, any qualification that you have should be included in this education section. Again, it is very, very crisp. There's no much information. Very crisp. You list when you started, when you finished, and then the qualification. So 1945 to 1951, I started 1945 and I finished in 1951, and that's the qualification I got, and that's where I did it. Okay, so you list that. Now for things like your undergraduate, masters, whatever, you should list the what you got in brackets. Okay, so you don't need that for WAEC, you don't need that for any other thing else, but like this one, you could list it if you want. But then any education, anything that has to do with education that you have, you list what you got, to list your grade there. Okay, of course there's nothing as a 3-2, but that's just me playing with stuff there. Then the next thing should be your personal training and professional training and qualifications. Okay, so this is where you list every training that you have done as a teacher. So anything that you have done while you were teaching, before you taught, but has to do with teaching, this is where you list all of that qualifications and training. So that's why it's professional training and qualifications. So things like conflict resolution techniques and skills, behavior management, phonics, any training whatsoever that you've had to do with teaching, or while you were in school, or while you were training. Now, this is not your qualification. So for instance, if you did teacher training college, okay, that's going to be your education. That is not a professional training and qualification. But while you were doing that teacher training, and then they had somebody, a guest, come in to give a talk about how to improve your teaching career, then that is training. Okay, so there's a bit of a difference there. So you have professional training and qualifications, and you have your educational qualifications. So those are two different things. So you list them again in ascending order. You start from the least to the top. Okay, so list your most current training should be at the top of that list. So moving on from that, the next thing is your teaching experience. So in this section, you are going to be listing all of your teaching roles. So here again is an ascending order. You have your current teaching role, the first thing, and then subsequent ones underneath. So for instance, I said I started this teaching job in September of 2025 till present, because I'm still the teacher. So I'm going to put present to present, and then list my job title and list the school and the country. Okay, so list the school and the country, and then what year that you are teaching, or what class you are teaching. Then again, in bullet points underneath, I'm going to list my roles and responsibilities as a teacher. So the first thing there may be supporting children with their work, assessing children, giving formative and summative assessment, marking, organizing trips, whatever. Okay, so that is the bit that you are going to be that's the bit that you're going to be doing there. Okay, so that's the bit that you're going to be doing there. I'm just going to take that out, that's not necessary. So that's the bit that you're going to be doing down here for your teaching experience. Then again, if you've gone to, maybe you've taught in 3 different schools, list those schools and list your duty as the class teacher in those schools. Again, all in bullet points. List your duties in bullet points and in ascending order. Now, some of these I've got brackets, like for instance, this one, I've got brackets around the classes, but for this ones I haven't got, so this is just an error. So that is why you always have to read and read and read. Okay, it's always important that you check and check and check and check, because it doesn't take a lot of time, and one mistake or the other mistake is made. Okay, so read and read and read, double check and double check your CV before you send it in. Okay, so I'm just putting those in brackets just so that everything tallies together. So again, I list my teaching experience in ascending order from my most current teaching experience to the list. Now here you can also include your training experience. So for instance, while you were doing your teacher training, in uni or wherever, and you went on placement as part of your teacher training qualification, you went on placement, then you list those. Okay, so trainee teacher at the school, primary 5 or 6, and then you list what you did as a trainee teacher while you were in that school. Again, for instance, if you did NYSC, and as part of your NYSC orientation, you did teach in a school, then you list that there. NYSC teacher NYSC orientation teaching, excuse me, and then you list what year it is that you taught, and then you list your duties. So any teaching that you have done at all, any teaching experience that you have, be it on the job, be it while you are trained to be a teacher, or while you are a lesson, if you're a lesson teacher, list it here, lesson teacher, and these are my duties as well. Now, a lot of the duties around this section will be the same. Okay, so a lot of them will be the same. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and reinvent something, because as a teacher, wherever you go, the job is the same. As a trainee teacher, you might have less responsibilities than when you have your own class. So, but the duties will similarly be the same. Okay, they will sort of way be the same. They won't be too far away from each other. So you can just copy and paste the duties from one of this to the other, but just be mindful of the training teacher, because as a training teacher, you might not be doing a lot of paperwork. So just be mindful when you're writing your duties for that one. So again, list it in ascending order. And then if you also did some sort of voluntary in a school, so maybe before you decided to do your teacher training, you wanted to volunteer in a school to help, or your parents had a school and you were volunteering in the school while you were waiting to write your JAMB or WAEC or whatever, you are volunteering in the school. Now this is where you're doing some teaching, but you're not being paid for it. So you list those down as well. So voluntary teaching, blah 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 blah. I helped in the classroom. I looked after the children. Whatever you did. Okay, so all of these are to do with teaching. Okay, so list all of this in your teaching experience. Now, they will also want to see that your life is not just about teaching. Okay, so they want to see that you are quite versatile. You've got quite a lot of things going on, or that you are branching out to other things. Okay, that's one thing that's very, very unique in the UK, and particular to the UK. They want to see that you are quite versatile in your life and not just focus on that particular thing. So any other experience that you have that is outside of that teaching, include it. Okay, so here you have a non-teaching work experience. So if you've done other jobs before you then got onto your teacher training and your teaching career, list those jobs as well here. So under this non-teaching work experience, I listed, okay, from this year to that time, I was an accountant in Lagos. Again, is always in ascending order. It is always in ascending order. And then I did customer care from this year to that year. Then again, in bullet points, list your duties in those posts. List all of your duties in those posts. Then the next section, you have your relevant voluntary community service. Now, you are going to include if you are a choir mistress, you are in the choir, you help with any voluntary work, you're part of your village committee that does Christmas planning, you are part of your church committee, whatever thing that you do that is a voluntary work that you're not being paid for, but it is an act of service to your community, you list those as well. This is also key. You list those in your job. I am an usher in my church. I did ushering from this date to that date. Usher, put it here in the church, and then you write out the name of the church. From here to here, I did. From here to here, I did marketing. Well, sorry, I helped my church to share flyers. I was sharing flyer as part of my church, whatever team you put up there. And then you do that the same for your voluntary community service. Then your skills. So what kind of skills do you have? You're organized, you're a team player, you are proactive, whatever skills that you think you have and that will be good for the job, you list those there as well in bullet points. And then your hobbies. Do you like knitting? Do you like surfing? Do you like hiking? Do you like skiing? Whatever it is that is your hobby, you also list those in bullet point. And then the final thing is for your reference. Now you can just put available at request. Okay, so if you go through and they request for a referee or reference from someone, then you can say that's available at request, and then you can then list those people whenever they ask for it. So this is basically what a teaching CV should looks like for those of you who are asking about what how a teaching CV should look like. Now you can go back at any point, pause this, have a look, and scroll through to understand exactly what it is that has been done. Okay, I hope that has been helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.